Hi. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. I'm just getting started to do a live. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fariha Rub. Hi, Zainab. Hi. I'm going to be doing a live in a few moments. I'm just getting ready for a few more people to join. My daughter is here with me, Zainab. Assalamu alaikum. Oop. You dropped that, Zainab. All right, so I'm going to get started. I wanted to talk to you guys about, Ramadan, how it went for everyone. For me particularly, I am a physician, so I work full-time as a doctor, and then I also have a halakha group called Jannah Circle, for which I am the founder, and we host qiyams and monthly halakas and things like that. So I feel like this Ramadan was a little bit different because I was so used to having my community of women. I was so used to having my community of women that it was so different to not have that. And so I had to be a lot more sincere in my actions. I had to make sure that my actions were for myself, because it was just a lot easier to do ibadah when you're doing it with other people. And it's different when you're by yourself doing it. So I think that was the biggest change for me for this Ramadan, because it was a lot more isolation. It was trying to do things truly for Allah, and it was, there's beauty in that as well. And I recently started blogging on Instagram, and so I had to also decipher what I'm going to share on social media and what I'm going to keep for myself. And I think that's really important, to be able to keep your sincerity, your ikhlas in whatever you do. So maybe not sharing everything to motivate others, just being particular about what you share. And so then that way, there are some things that are just between you and Allah, and inshallah there is a deed that can be so pure in that and be pleasing to Allah. So I'm sorry, I have my daughter with me if I keep pausing. There's so with me working, it was a little bit of a different Ramadan, because of course the COVID-19 virus going on. I work in the hospital. My husband also works in the hospital, so we had to be a bit more be at work a little bit more than we like to. But we still took off 3 weeks of Ramadan. So we worked the first 10 days of Ramadan, and then we were off, mashallah, the last 20 days, and inshallah I'll have a little bit of time off for Eid as well. And so this Ramadan, what we really felt differently and did differently was we kind of kept to ourselves. Obviously because of the virus, we didn't have iftar parties, we didn't have dinners, we didn't have hangouts. So alhamdulillah, it really was beautiful because we could just bond as a family. So we did a lot of cookouts, we hung out a lot, and just really been together, alhamdulillah. So going forward, it is important for us to know that what do we do now? What happens now? So Ramadan's over. Soon enough, the pandemic will be over. Soon enough, we'll be interacting with people again. So what happens next? And I think that's just such an important thing for us to think about, because during Ramadan is when we are cultivating these new habits, right? This new change, these new practices. Without food, without water, without sleep, without social interaction, we are left to ourselves. We are shown that we have to rely only on ourselves and Allah. And so some of the things that we might have been dependent on, we no longer need necessarily. And so Ramadan is a great time to start developing those practices. 30 days is what they say it takes to build a new habit. And so going forward after Ramadan, it should make it a lot easier if we stick to what we learned in Ramadan to take forward. For example, waking up for tahajjud, for fajr, salah, and for all of our 5 prayers, the time we took before iftar time, before dinner, taking time to make dua, making time to read Quran every day. These are things that are so remarkable during Ramadan. It brings us immense peace and barakah into our day, but somehow we have such a hard time carrying this through for the rest of the year. And so it's just so important for us to be able to do that throughout the year. And so we have to really think, okay, now Ramadan's coming to an end. How will I show Allah that I truly changed? That this month was the month that I changed. This Ramadan was the Ramadan that changed me. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be given another Ramadan. I don't know the next time that I will have this opportunity to be to be of service to my Lord. And so what we can do going forward is think of ways that we can bring that into our daily lives. For me particularly, this would be bringing in a habit of gratitude into my daily life. And I know a lot of people suggest this, but you guys, it is so life-changing. It is so life-changing when you truly show gratitude to Allah. It's insane how many blessings and goodness comes into your life, into some of the things that might even bring you turmoil, right? Things that are painful for us. If we can just reframe ourselves and think about all the good that we do have, the blessings that we do have, it helps us cope so much, and it helps us bring this new immense peace and blessings to our heart. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be doing after Ramadan, is really actively every single day listing out 3 to 5 things I'm grateful for and being very specific in them. And I think just reflecting on that throughout the day, when I feel sad, when I feel lonely, when I feel a void, just thinking about those few things will bring me so much joy. Because if we think about it, there's so many things that we have to be grateful for, but we tend to only focus on the few things that we don't have. And it's a painful process, because as humans, we tend to focus on what we're missing, right? When we look at somebody else's family, we think, oh my gosh, they have a big house, they have these cars, they have these beautiful children, they have these careers, like, why don't I have that? And it's easy, it's a human nature, and Allah expects that from us. That is our nature, and Allah expects that from us. So it's important to know that it's not a fault that is in us, but it is up to us to reframe ourselves. It is up to us to think, okay, how will I change going forward? How will I bring goodness into my life by being more grateful? And one of the particular things that comes to mind for me with gratitude is lately I've been feeling a little bit of like loneliness in my heart, and it might be the pandemic, it might be just being away from my friends and family, but it's just making me think that it made me feel like people are withdrawing from me, right? And when I think like that, I try to think of the people who aren't withdrawing from me, the people who are showing up for me, the people who are able to comfort me and console me, people who are constant in my life. And it helps me so much, because those people, that's like, there's hundreds of them that are like that for me, and there's only 1 or 2 who might not be able to show up for me. And so it really helps my mind to reframe my thinking, to know that this is what Allah would want from us. And when we focus on Allah's blessings, He gives us more blessings. So the next thing going forward after Ramadan would be to make sure that we keep up with our Quran reading. I've never been like a very fluent Quran reader, but this Ramadan, I don't know what it was. It might have been the intention I made. It has just become... My daughter keeps eating random things. It has become so much more easier for me. It has become so much more easier for me to be more fluent in my Quran recitation, to be able to sit through and read an entire juz in one sitting. And this was, honest to God, never possible for me. I think I would just feel overwhelmed. And so, alhamdulillah, this Ramadan, that's what I learned, is that I can sit in one sitting and read an entire juz. And so that's what I'm going to be taking forward. I'm going to be reading Quran every day, and I'm going to try to keep up with that practice. And who knows, maybe next Ramadan I'll be able to read more than one juz a day, and inshallah I hope that I can finish the Quran next year, inshallah. But the point is that Allah doesn't expect perfection from us. He doesn't need all of us to finish the Quran. What He needs is every single one of us to attempt to do the best we can, to always keep growing. So what this Ramadan needs to teach us is, how will I grow going forward? If the next Ramadan isn't given to me, what will happen? Do I deserve to live for another Ramadan? What is it that I am providing? What have I learned from this Ramadan that I'm bringing into my next year? And it's so powerful when we think about it. If we think that our Ramadan was accepted or not, the way that our habits are after Ramadan is truly what will show us if it was accepted or not, right? Because for our Ramadan to have been accepted, that means that our actions were out of sincerity. They were true cultivation of the best person we can be. So if Ramadan was accepted for us, then that should be carrying out throughout the year, right? And so that really helps, because we need to understand that this is something that needs to be carried through for the rest of the year. And inshallah, each one of us can think of ways that we can do that. One of the other ways is family time. And, that's Ramadan. That's just saying thanks to the COVID and thanks to Ramadan. That was one of the things that we have definitely grown together as a family. We have so much family time now, and it's uninterrupted. We try to give at least 30 minutes to an hour to our children without any interruptions, without social media. And it's hard because sometimes it gets boring. Your mind just trails off and you don't really feel like focusing, but alhamdulillah, it really helps our family to do that. And then the last thing I want to share is, in Ramadan, we're always guarding our tongue. We are guarding our eyes. We are guarding our ears. And it's so beautiful because you want to keep yourself pure, but then after Ramadan finishes, we slowly let those things creep in. We are more reactive with our words. We say hurtful things. We're angry. We're loud. We listen to music. We listen to other things. We watch things we're not supposed to watch, and suddenly we don't feel that immense duty to our hearts to stay pure, because we're not in the state of worship. But truly after Ramadan, maybe if we can keep that state of worship throughout the year, even after Ramadan, then it will be so beneficial to us. So for me, especially, one of the things I worked on was not having, when I have been triggered for some reason, or if I'm feeling emotionally reactive, to just take a few breaths and just give it space between my stimulus and my reaction, to just say, okay, I'm fasting. I'm fasting. And whenever that would happen, whenever I would feel upset, I would immediately say, oh, I'm fasting. Oh, my husband is fasting. I can't get angry. But wouldn't it be so beautiful if we did that even after Ramadan? If we said, I can't talk like that, I can't act like that because I'm fasting. And the tongue truly is one of the biggest ways that gets us into trouble. That we say things we're not supposed to say. We say too much. We say hurtful things. We say things that we don't even mean to say. And so I think it's really just being in that moment and realizing that this doesn't need to be said right now. I can sit with these words, and I can handle it, right? So sometimes we just want to say things just to make ourselves feel lighter. So we just want to make our heart feel lighter. So we just say whatever we can say, blurt it out, so that we can feel sukoon, we can feel peace. And it's almost like this bubbling inside of us, like this anxiety that bubbles. And we feel like, okay, if I just yell at somebody right now, I will feel so much better. But I'm here to challenge you and tell you that if we can just sit with those feelings and we can say to ourselves, you know what, I can handle this. I'm mad right now, but I can handle this. And we just co-regulate ourselves, we just support ourselves, then we can, you know, get better at that. So initially you might only be able to wait like 1 minute before you get mad, and then the next it will be longer and longer. So it's really important to create these moments for ourselves, to train ourselves. And inshallah, it's also of great benefit to our children when they see that mom is upset but she is trying to control her tongue, she is trying to rein in her nafs, then it will be a motivation for them to also be like that. They won't feel reactive, they won't want to, as soon as they get upset, it won't be this huge tantrum. They'll learn to process their feelings. And you know, my son, he just turned 5 like a week ago, and he does these breathing techniques. So when he gets mad, when he gets upset, he does these different breaths that he does to calm himself down. And first we had to actually teach him those breaths when he wasn't upset. So just in everyday life, we had to teach that to him. And then slowly, when he was upset, I would just hug him and do those breaths myself. I wouldn't say for him to do it. I would just do it myself, and he would feel my breathing, and then he would do it himself to calm himself down. And now when he's upset, I can remind him. I can say, Zaid, remember the snake breath? Do you want to try the snake breath? Do you want to you know, do breathing like a cat? And all of these things are from a book called Breathe Like a Bear. And so all of these techniques really help us calm in the moment. And I think going forward after Ramadan, if we're able to do those things, it'll be so beneficial to us. Let's carry those things that we've learned in Ramadan. Let's watch our tongue. Let's watch what we drink, what we eat, what we watch, what we say. And inshallah, just even a couple of those things that we can implement in the smallest ways, as long as we're growing, as long as we're getting better, that is all that is important. Hey, can you pick on the pasta? So inshallah, I'll leave you with that. Zid, you want to come say hi? Show them how you do breathing like a bear. Or you'll have to come do it here. Breathe like a snake. All right. Inshallah, I'll end with that. Hi
guys, and I'll be
once again
racing one the
Fariha Rub.
And
you can find me on the Dr. Mommy. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer it for you. All right. Take care.
So bye.